Hey guys, Military Arsenal. I'm going to do a video on this Colt Python. This is my favorite double action revolver that was ever produced. I got this one on a trade. This was my buddy's, and I traded him my Stag AR-15 with a little bit of cash, and that's how I got this. These are very valuable. If you're going to find one of these, expect to pay from $1,500 to well over $2,000, depending on how old it is, what condition it's in. The length of the barrel affects the price. The shorter the barrel, the more valuable it is. I don't know why that is, but that's just the way it is. Now when I got this, it had black Pachmeyer rubber grips on it, and I really didn't like them on this gun. You know, a Colt Python, in my opinion, should have the wood grips because it looks classic. You know, whenever you say the name Colt Python, most people visualize a python with wood grips on it. So I looked for them, and they're kind of hard to find. You can find reproduction grips for like $70, but I wanted original python grips that were in pretty good condition, and I found these ones, and these were about $200. I really did not want to spend $200 on wood grips that were like 30 years old, but you know, I have the gun, so you know, I had to get them. You know, it sucked spending $200 on these, but I have to say they are in excellent condition. There's really no defects on them. Obviously they're used, so it's gonna have, you know, a little bit of marks on them, you know, handling marks, but nothing major. You know, these look like they're in excellent shape. There's no chips in the wood or anything. So they look really good on the gun, and that's my idea of a beautiful Colt Python. It just looks unbelievable. And believe it or not, you know, on most revolvers, the wood grips are very uncomfortable, which is why a lot of people switch them out for hoe grips. But I have to tell you, on this Colt Python, these wood grips, they're really not that bad. They're really not that bad. My dad has a Smith & Wesson 686 that he got when he was like 21 years old. And it came with beautiful cherry grips. They were wood, and they were the most uncomfortable grips I've ever held on a revolver. So he, you know, replaced those a while ago with hoe grips. But you know, these wood grips really aren't that bad, and that kind of made me happy because I spent $200 on wood grips, you know, just for the look, thinking they're going to be uncomfortable, but they're really not bad at all. From what I'm told from my buddy, this was at one time a police revolver. The police carried Colt Pythons back in the day. It was like just, you know, their standard gun that they carried. And it did come with a police holster, the police duty belt, and it has those little pouches on it that carries your speed loaders. So that leads me to believe it probably was a police gun. The condition of this is about maybe 97% because it has a little bit of wear on the muzzle right here and on this side as well. You know, from going in and out of the holster. On the edges of the cylinder, it has just a little bit of wear. There's a little bit of beveling right here, and on the edge, just a little bit of wear. You can see the steel poking through. It has the line, the ring across the cylinder. That's from cycling the action on it. And this rod right here, it also has some wear on it. Pretty much in all the places you would expect wear, there's a little bit. The trigger, on the edge of the trigger, just a little bit of wear. But this gun is in excellent shape. There's no scratches on it. There's no dents, dings, cuffs, nothing. The bluing is in perfect condition. You know, anywhere else, the frame, the cylinder, the side of the trigger. The face of the trigger is serrated. It's pretty comfortable. The hammer, it has cross hatching on it. Very crisp, smooth action. These Pythons, I believe, were handmade, which is one of the reasons they're very expensive and desirable. Apparently, back when these were being produced from, I think it was 1955 up until the late 1990s, a lot of old gun craftsmen pretty much built these. These were not guns that they just whipped together and sold to the public. These had very high attention to detail. A lot went into these. These are hand-fitted, hand-filed. These are made to perfection. And that's one of the reasons that Colt stopped making them in the 1990s, is because they were very expensive to produce, and people really didn't want to spend that much money on them. So Colt stopped making these, and I believe it was like the 1990s, the late 1990s. And then after a while, the demand for them came back. A lot of people were requesting Colt to start making these again. So I think it was in the early 2000s, Colt came out with the Python Elite. And I believe those were made up until like maybe the mid 2000s, and then Colt stopped making those because they were like $3,000 pistols. They were made in the custom shop of Colt, and they weren't able to fill orders because they were so expensive, so they just stopped making them. So Colt does not make these anymore. Now, if on the barrel it says Python Elite, it is a newer one. If it just says Python 357, it is the original line of production. So if it just says Python on it, it'll be more valuable than the ones that say Python Elite. They're both very valuable, but you want to get one that was made before the 2000s. So you want to get an original line of production Colt Python. You got your little Colt horse right there on the frame. On the barrel it says Python 357, and then underneath it has a star, 357 Magnum CTG, and then another star. On this side of the barrel it says Colt's Patent Firearm Manufacturing Company, Hartford, Connecticut, USA. The roll marks are nice and deep, and they're straight. And the craftsmen on these Colts are just unbelievable. The machine work on the frame is excellent. There's really no defects in the metal. Sometimes when you get a high or a low quality revolver, you can see imperfections. You can see why it's a low cost revolver. But these Pythons are made to perfection. They really are. Really nice trigger. The trigger pull is great. Very crisp, very easy to use, very comfortable. I really don't like to dry fire it, but when I shot about maybe 50 rounds through this. Actually, probably less than that. Maybe about 30 rounds when I first got it. I don't shoot it much, Obviously, when you get a newer gun, you want to shoot it, but this gun was already shot, so I really didn't have any resentment to shoot it, because it's already used. But I keep it in really nice condition. I don't holster it. I always wipe it down before I put it away, like I do with all my other guns. But this gun, I pay more attention to it in order to keep it nice, because it's very valuable. This is the original finish on it. It's never been restored. I heard one time that if you have a gun from Colt and it's in like kind of bad shape, the bluing's to the point where it's really not that nice looking, that if you send it back to Colt and have them refinish it, as long as Colt is the one that re-blued it, the value will stay the same. If you send it to anywhere else, like if you have a Colt revolver and you send it to another place to get it blued, it'll drop the value. But if you send it back to Colt, the original manufacturer of it, and you have them re-blue it, or do whatever you want to it, the value will stay the same. I don't know if that's true, but I kind of believe it. I can see why it would be true, because Colt's the original manufacturer of it. But I like to keep it in the original configuration. If you see here, the firing pin is in the frame. On the Smith & Wesson, the firing pin will be on the hammer. Okay, you can see this is just a standard hammer. Okay. The sights are just black. There's no white dots. There's no white edges on it. Just your standard black sights. It is adjustable. The rear sight is adjustable. You can also find these Pythons in chrome plated. Or actually, no, it might be nickel plated. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's nickel plated. And those things are freaking beautiful. If you can find a nickel plated python with a 6-inch barrel, that's beautiful. My favorite barrel length is the 4-inch barrel, and I like it to be blued. But if I ever had the chance to get one, like let's say I had all the money in the world, I would definitely want one that's 6 inches, that's nickel plated. Those things are so expensive though. You know, I'm really happy with this one. I'm never going to let it go. This is my favorite revolver. The Colt Python in general is my favorite double action revolver that was ever produced. I've always liked the way they look. It has the nice barrel, the vented barrel. It's just really nice looking. Like I said, it's put together very nicely. And for some reason, the shorter the barrel, the more it's worth. I know that you can get pythons, now they're very rare, but they have like 2.5-inch barrels on them, and they're like $4,000. I would never spend that much money on one, but if you are a collector, they are out there. If you get very lucky, you can find one that's in the original box that's never been fired, but again, thousands of dollars. If you're looking for a Colt Python, I would recommend getting one that's been used. Now, obviously, you want to get it in nice shape, but make sure it's used. You know, it's been fired, because if you get a Colt Python that's never been fired and it's in absolutely perfect shape, I really wouldn't feel comfortable owning it, because I would be too nervous about something happening to it. At least with this one, it has a little bit of wear on it, you know, here and there. So if it does get a little bit more wear somewhere else, it's not a big deal, because it's already not 100%. You get a Colt Python that's 100% condition, you know, you really gotta pay attention not to let anything happen to it. Really nice gun though. You know, if you rotate the cylinder, it's very smooth. It's just so well made. You know, the fit and finish of it is beautiful. On the rear, it has serrations on the back. And the bluing is absolutely beautiful. I don't know how Colt blues their guns. But any gun blued by Colt is just so beautiful. It's like a blackish blue. You know, it's like a really dark bluing. On the top, it's a flat black. Okay. It's just a great looking revolver. And those wood grips, it really tops it off. I love it. Maybe in the future I'll do a shooting video on it. Like I said, I don't shoot it much, you know, very rarely. It's very fun to shoot, but I don't shoot it much. I like to fondle with it though, you know, I hold it when I watch TV or whatever. It's very nice. I keep it in great shape, and it's really a pleasure to own. And it's also an investment. You know, that's another way you gotta look at it. Spending $1,500 on a handgun, you know, a revolver, that can be really hard for some people, but think of it like an investment. You know, you're buying a gun that's very collectible, that is not made anymore. It's an investment. Even if you spend $2,000 on one, you know, it's an investment. The value's only going to go up as long as you keep it nice. But so there's my Colt Python. In my opinion, it's the best revolver that was ever made. Double action, anyway. So there it is, and I love it. Let me know what you guys think of it. If any of you guys have pythons, you can make a response video to it. I'd love to see them. And until next time, see you guys later.